Hi, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. So, coffee with Jess, I guess. So, I got coffee. I hope you have coffee. And if you don't have coffee, keep the podcast on and just run and get yourself some, or tea if that's what floats your boat. We're all different. I've got cold brew with whipped cream today, and it is really, really good because I put some vanilla powder in it. Daily ASMR. Yeah, it's good stuff. Anyway, so I thought we were going to talk a little bit today about finding your perfect career, and as subtitle I put, be the girl that decides to go for it, because a lot of times we don't, that's just kind of how it is. Let's be honest. There's a lot of times where we're just too comfortable. So I thought that I would give you guys a little bit of a rundown about who I am. My name is Jess, or Jessie. I'm half American, half Swedish. I live in Sweden, and I work as a voiceover artist. This is something that I have done since I was, I think, 8. I think I did my first voiceover when I was 8 years old. It was like this, I dubbed this thing for some movie. It was fun. So how I got into doing this on a more permanent basis is, I started doing voiceovers when I was like 8 years old or something like that. At that point in my life, I wanted to be a rock star. I was completely convinced that was my calling. And let's face it, it probably still is. But I wanted to be a rock star just like my dad. Because in my eyes, my dad was a rock star. And he didn't really do rock, but he's pretty awesome. He's a really cool guy. But anyway, so music and voice work is something that's always sort of been with me and been a part of my life. But growing up, school and all those things, it was something that sort of came and went. I'd do something once in a while. It was mostly because my dad, who I spoke about a little bit earlier, my dad was a voiceover artist and did a lot of voice work and producing stuff and things like that. So I sort of, got into it through him when I was a kid. And once in a while, something would pop up. But after I graduated and I studied musical theater and more music and did some touring and all that stuff, I decided to settle down and have a family and things like that, the usual stuff. And sort of did, a few jobs here and there. I worked in a cafe. I, worked at a record label for a while, and I did a few different things. I even worked in a pizza place at one point in time. But it was all, just stuff that you did, just to sort of get things to get money, because, money's nice. We all need money. And at one point I was working in this sort of little boho restaurant, cafe kind of thing. And my son got sick. So my son was 4.5 at the time, I think, and he was diagnosed with leukemia. And it was horrible. I mean, it's one of those things that you do not wish on your worst enemy. And getting through that, I couldn't work anymore. So all of those, at that point, I was working full time at this cafe, and I had to be home. And when that happened, I sort of, everything just sort of stopped, and not having a schedule, we were there for our son 24/7 with treatments, and, we would be living at the hospital a big chunk of the time. And then, people started calling, saying, hey, do you have time to come in and do a voiceover? And when it comes to voiceover work, that's an hour, maybe that you go in and use, you do your lines, you read the script and take directions, and then you're out of there. And to me, that was a really, really important breather for me, because so much of my everyday life was absorbed by being at the hospital and everything that entailed. So I started doing voiceover work, taking a few jobs here and there, and at the point where my son got better, it was just like, okay, all of a sudden I was getting more and more voice work, because when you're available, and people call. and work begets work. It's sort of how it goes in the freelance industry. So I worked for a bunch of years doing voiceovers full time because for me, I do both Swedish and I do English with pretty much with no accent. So it was good. It was a good line of income. So I need more coffee. And that's really sort of how the voiceover thing started up as a full-time thing for me. And then a friend of mine messaged me and she said, "Oh, the school that I'm working at, our music teacher just quit. Could you come fill in for a bit?" And I stayed for 4 years. So I worked as a music teacher. But the thing is, I really love my voiceover work, so I didn't really quit my voiceover stuff or even really do less of it. I just, added more and added more and added more work at the school until I was working full time at the school. And I don't know at what point my brain just sort of checked out and was like, okay, if something is called a full-time job, that means full-time. You can't put other things in. And I ended up, I was burnt out. I was totally burnt out. And I got to the point where, I really, really love all the things that I do. Throughout my years, I've worked with voiceovers, worked a lot with music. My main studies are musical theater and band stuff and things like that. But I've also worked with youth and teaching and stuff like that. So for me, I loved being a music teacher, but it was just at this point where I was just like, I can't do this. It's not making me happy anymore. It's doing the opposite. And that's sort of the time in my life where I just said, you know what? I know that it seems risky, but I need to take a step back and cut some things out of my life that are not beneficial for me anymore. And it's hard. It's one of those things that is really, really difficult to do, especially when you love the people that you work with or the job in itself. There's a lot of times we can love so many different things of what we do, but when you put it all together, you can't do everything. It's like that saying, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And that's really, really hard for me because there's so many things that I love doing. There's so many things that I'm passionate about. And I have a hard time choosing. I really do. So what I have done now is I have, my ninth graders, I was mentor for, I guess you could call that homeroom teacher. So I was like in charge of the ninth graders at our school. And when they graduated, I was like, okay, my kids have flown the nest. It's time. So I felt that it was time for me to move on as well. And I think that is going to be a really, really good thing. So I'm going to be focusing more on my voiceover work again, and working more on my own music, which is one of those things that when you get to that really, really stressed out point in your life, you can't really get those creative juices flowing in the same way that you can when you're a little more harmonious, let's say. So there's that. So I was just going to talk to you guys a little bit about so the things that I have found were important for me in coming to this decision is what is my life situation right now is the first thing that I sort of took a look at. So what is the life situation right now? What is it that is the need for change, and defining what the life situation is. Okay, so what is the main reason for needing to change? Okay, for me, it was that I was just overworked. I was doing lots of great stuff, but it was just too much stuff. So number 2 is define the change that is needed. So what is it that needs to change here? Some things might be able to stay, and other things might be, maybe you're holding on to something that is really not good for you. So, what is it? Is it that the job that you have, you're working too much, or is it that maybe you're working in a super, super structured, place or something, and you're more of a freelance personality. So what kind of person are you? And that's point number 3. What kind of person are you? Because some people love working 9 to 5. And they enjoy the stability and the routine in it, and it makes them happy. It makes them feel secure, and that's awesome. That is one personality type. Another personality type, which is more me, is I'm more of a freelance person. I like being able to have flexible hours. I need that variety in order to thrive as a person, or I just go insane. I cannot be micromanaged day to day. It drives me nuts. I do need some structure. Not gonna lie, I do need some structure, and I love planning. I love planning. Specifically, planner stickers. Planner stickers get me hot and bothered. I love planner decorating, but I love structure, but I need that freedom. I need to be able to plan my own days, and that's a different kind of personality. So what makes one person happy work-wise might make somebody else miserable, and vice versa. And that's something that we need to take into account when we say, okay, what is it that I'm going to be spending the majority of my days doing? Because a lot of our time goes to work. So what you bring to the table is the next one. So for me, I'm kind of looking at it and going, okay, I love teaching. I love talking to people. I love coaching. I love hearing things that people are going through and helping them to get through it. And also, I've got a ton of experience when it comes to recording and with music and things like that. So how can you put the things that you have that are specific for you into something that is a job and that is a money? I can't talk, but something that's a job and that's legit. I think a lot of times we sort of downplay our own abilities. And we think that for something to count, we need to have a diploma in it, and absolutely diplomas are very important, and they absolutely factor in. But I'm just saying, if you are amazing at something, don't downplay it or think that this is just this, because it might be something that somebody needs and somebody wants. So be honest to yourself and believe in yourself, and write a list of all those things that you have to offer, whatever they are. So so let's do this. Let's say, okay, from now on, trying to figure out what the change in life, what change is needed in my life, in your life, and just being honest to ourselves and saying, okay, why do I need this change, and how am I going to change this? So play to your strengths and believe in your abilities, and you're going to just kick some ass, because it is so. So let's not call it a dream. Let's call it a plan. It is very important to make sure that you start making a plan, make something concrete. We're going to talk a little bit more about that next time with SMART goals. If you guys have heard about SMART goals, those are really, really cool, and it's something that I use a lot when it comes to sort of structuring where I want to go in life and stuff like that. So I will see you later, and thank you so much for checking in, and if you stayed around till the end, thank you so much. Catch you guys later. Bye-bye.